Okay, everybody, welcome to another hot episode of ChatGBD, the podcast that covers game advertising, media, and everything in between. And we have a returning guest after GDC and a long vacation in New York.
Very well needed vacation.
Well done. How was New York?
Fantastic. Highly recommend it for anyone.
What did you do?
So much being a tourist, tons of bagels.
They should sound more exciting. I understand you went to see a game.
So I went to the Knicks and the Clippers
All right.
game. Fantastic.
Well done.
Great experience.
You saw the Anzu team in New York?
A few of them, yes.
All right. That's good. Well, it's been a while. I think some of them we haven't seen at all, ever.
While talking on a daily basis.
But exactly. Right.
And
They have legs.
they have legs, yes. That was the first thing I said, by the way.
All right. And the week before was very exciting because was it your first GDC?
My first GDC.
Wow. Okay, so no longer a virgin. You have been to the GDC streets. You've seen it. How was it? What was the vibe for you? Are you summarizing the experience of first GDC, not just GDC?
I think using two letters, AI,
All right.
sums everything.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to have things so simple
Yeah.
on every aspect of.
You can't spell Chaim without AI. That's true.
We thought about it before.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why we're having this episode.
Yeah. There are a few names that include that. You can quote me. Overall, looking at it, expectations, right? I mean, a lot of people hear about GDC. Still 30,000 people go, but there are a few more people around the world, even in the game and marketing and tech industry. That's not a huge number. It is one of the biggest events. So everybody has their own expectation. What did you expect before, and what did you actually see in reality?
Honestly, I was expecting to see more of the larger players on, I would say, the ad monetization,
Mhm.
DSP side, looking for gaming inventory, gaming clients, but I've seen anything in between more,
When you say in between, you mean?
service providers, web stores, anything that helps, help the community grow the gaming business, I would say,
Right.
end to end. All about advertising per se.
GDC, started, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago. And when it started, it was a small community. It wasn't in San Francisco. I wasn't there, but it was really always around indie developers growing into bigger developers. You've seen that you don't see anymore the big publishers and the platforms. They have meeting rooms outside of the conference itself. I think Xbox is still holding one of the indie booth, the ID program, inside, but that's about it. Everyone else is outside in all the hotels
and we've been also to several indie events and just so many people, young people, older people, anything in between, showcasing their products, games that are currently on a wish list.
Yeah.
And basically they want these games to be exposed, but also funding, publishing, headhunting.
Yeah. For me, a lot of it is around that's sort of the heart of the industry. The not always young, it's not only students. You see people that have been in the industry, but they always have a passion. Some run it as a hobby, and some try to make a business of it and try to make their own thing. Um, and it's funny. Sometimes you'd come as a student because you want to create something from scratch. You don't have a lot of experience, but you're learning and you meet others that share the same idea. And sometimes you've been working at a very big studio and you always wanted to make something smaller where you have bigger impact on number of
Control, yeah.
elements. I think we've seen both.
A mixture. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, the indie was the almost the unexpected, the most interesting part that I was very happy. Sort of, we spent time, in that realm on Sunday, and then I think there were a couple of more events.
Just thinks how many people are looking to develop games for a habit, or make money out of it, and looking to engage with others, like seeing this outside of Discord as an example, where
Right.
instead of chatting, just
Discord in real life.
Discord in real life, but on a high scale.
Yeah. So what did you think about that? Was that exciting? I mean, your history is a lot of it is with marketing technologies, Martech,
I would say even
Martech.
beyond that, it's more very on the mobile side,
Yeah.
and seeing high games that are high, produced in a very quality environment, and in the end you see two people,
Yep.
developing something that looks amazing. Honestly, from advertising perspective, it could work well as well from Anzu's end, but seeing so many develop such good games, um, brings joy.
Yeah. Unity, and definitely in the past 15 years, Unreal have been so accommodating to much larger, set of people, in the democratized, accessibility for
Yep.
creators in general. Epic, did amazing job with providing more tools around Fortnite, Unity. I think that was their mission from day one, to just provide easier tool for developers. And then, with everything that happened in mobile, it was their rocket,
Yep.
right, to grow. Um, and now with AI, you mentioned AI, things are becoming even easier, and the barrier to create is just getting lower.
And the AI, because there's several companies out there that are pushing their AI services for gaming industry, for advertising industry, or anything in between. The possibilities are endless. Thinking about creating creatives from scratch, making user acquisition from scratch, but very automated.
Right.
Promotions within the games, in-app purchases, make everything way more, understanding the user gameplay, and understand what kind of promotion
Yep.
a user should get. $2, $5 to purchase whatever, or but thinking about us, we've been chatting also, how we can improve our service by introducing AI
Right.
over time for developers to make their life easier and make money as quickly as possible.
Yeah. I've seen two startups. One of them is providing you sort of consultancy, an agent that helps you and check with other agents and really try to guide you through developing, the game. Uh, More technical, less technical, really become sort of a trusted advisor for you. And then that agent can bring others that can help you execute on that plan if you're not sure about how to do that. I've seen another startup that's really bringing a lot of skill into insights, data insights, and making sure you're not missing anything. As a human being, you might catch something, you might miss something out of that. So it's sort of additional team member that's making sure, maybe they're missing some things, maybe they're not connecting all the dots, but they're definitely making sure that you are being pointed on some trends, and changes. And I think very soon, like within a year ago, this was not there at all, right? So I can only think what would happen a year from now.
Yep.
So I love it. Other than that, what are the biggest opportunities we've seen? Sort of, what are the biggest trends? Putting aside AI,
Yep.
maybe everything is overshadowed by
Yep.
that.
I've been, during the event, but also, reading summaries of so many people, who attended. Web stores are not new, companies like Zola and others,
Right.
but understanding how much they save for the publishers,
Yep.
and how much it affects, flexibility of the developers, the game economy, what kind of promotion they can push more aggressively to the end users. Um, so I've been hearing, developers more and more utilizing this. Obviously, Apple and Google don't like this, obviously. And there are challenges when developers are considering web stores. Um, but yeah, web stores for sure seems like it's a trend that will continue to rise.
Getting out of the traditional stores, getting more revenues to your pocket as a game developer, as a publisher.
Yes.
Everybody's motivated to do that more than ever.
Hmm.
Now, with regulation, it's being facilitated. Exola was leading this for a while, but now there are a lot of different alternatives, smaller, bigger, updated, mobile oriented, but a lot of more options out
And
there.
I've seen also companies that pivoted, like payments companies per se, that used to work on completely different, market industry, and shifted over time or enabled a service for game developers, which essentially allows, having their own web stores. So a lot of payments companies getting towards this type of services as well.
Your GDC was a bit different than mine. I was mostly sitting in the room meeting with, mostly publishers, but also some advertising, agencies. How was your experience? I mean, we're not a publisher, so we don't have game developers coming and pitching their new game for us, trying
Yeah.
to get distribution or funding. Um,
Maybe someday, who knows?
yeah, well, that's a different life. Um, how was your experience?
I think most of the things that were I was chatting about, obviously partnership with Anzo first and foremost, but the having, AI is related to this, but having good service that allow developers to make make a move very quickly with a solution like Anzu. Developer cost is rising. Um, Not to mention design. And obviously, when considering a service like Anzu, design and developers are coming together. So I've been hearing this a lot from several, um, point of views,
Right.
developers. And, me personally, I'm taking this, within our team, how we can continue improving this.
It's the need for revenues is stronger than ever. If it wasn't for mobile, I would say that we are in one of the toughest spots the industry have been over the past 10 years, maybe more, probably more. But there is mobile, and mobile is growing, but also not growing as fast as it was. And we see more, studio shrinking, less resources, and bottom line, smaller teams that need to prioritize. And with Anzu, with others coming in with different SDKs and different tools, and all of them are proven. And still, the studio needs to prioritize what they're doing now, what they're doing later,
Mhm.
what can bring them potentially more revenues when nobody actually knows the real number. That's a very tough position to be, right?
And also, when thinking about mobile developers, mobile publishers, over the years, the market introduced challenges. We've been talking about this on, privacy stuff, regulations on previous episodes. Many publishers evolved to the point that their game is heavily in-app purchases. First, they're looking to maximize, uh, users' spend within the games, and this is where the developers' time is, focused on. Obviously, companies like us, we will continue to contribute revenues, but we get to see this that the AI and everything. It's heavily focused on how can the game publishers and developers get more of their player audiences without harming user experience, etc.
Well, free to play is very challenging. The fact that a lot of games are free to play now is unique. It wasn't that way again 10 years ago, 15 years ago. You remember Rovio's Angry Bird for 99 cents,
Mm.
right? It wasn't free. In the manageable,
I was not a paid user.
you were five or so.
Yes.
Uh,
Not five.
the managing a free to play economy, full free to play economy with in-app purchases and then advertising on top, monetizing the rest of the users or the players and or all of them, is actually pretty complicated. The number of currencies that you have, the offers that you have, the promotion of these offers in different times, that alone is like running retail.
Craft 100%.
It's a real craft, and that alone takes a lot of resources from any game that is basically just managed as a service. It would need to update and make sure your economy doesn't in-game economy doesn't collapse,
Yep.
right? And then on top of that, yes, advertising contribute a big part. Could be, 2 dozen, it's like 30%, could be 10%, could be more. And basically, everybody want to make sure that if they do add something, it really adds a 10% to their lifetime value or ARPDAU, depending how.
Or even ROI on spending time with the developers themselves.
Yeah. And then the cost of integration, if implementation is absolutely being considered. And you've met, I know that you met more marketing um, technology, DSPs,
Yep.
platforms more than me. How was that? This is again as a game conference. The amount of marketing and marketing tech
Yep.
companies was impressive.
100%. Mm, because so many companies understand that gaming has not necessarily. I'm not even talking about the format itself. Anzus format, rewarded videos. The audience is there, and the audience can be utilized for various advertising needs. And many companies understood that, and either by developing their own tech or integrating with third parties, shifting from buying web only or CTV only or in-app non-gaming. Many shifted towards gaming over time, um, and enabling as much inventory as possible through whatever channels they can. And we're hoping to tap into that as well.
Yeah.
It's like
What was there a takeaway from this more strategic for you?
some stuff that we're gonna take honestly, within the company, how we can provide our inventory to be more accessible for more, DSPs and SSP on, I would say it's not even technical, more on business side, and make an easy access for those companies, SSPs, exchanges, DSP, to the end publisher, which we cater it towards the publishers. We want to onboard as much as possible, and we want to help the publishers maximize with as little effort as possible their, as you said, the ARPDAU
Yeah.
and revenues coming from intrinsic placements.
One thing when I met a couple of the biggest agencies that ticked me off, that the fact that they still talked about gamers. And I've been running this. There's people who play game, which is practically 100% or close to 100% of the people in a Western market. It's everybody has this or that game on their phone or tablet. Doesn't matter if they play solitaire for 1 hour a day, a cumulative Candy Crush or PUBG and Call of Duty, anything in between. Um, People are very engaged, and most of them do see ads. And I don't think the buyers of these campaigns intended specifically to cater gamers or gaming audiences. This is much wider than that. I was trying to convince them that it's actually much simpler than trying to figure out who are the gamers across the number of games you're working with. It's we can provide that. I think any platform can provide that in a much more wider perspective in terms of audience.
I think, and I completely agree. And we've been talking with one of these partners. What I've heard, and there are several gaming companies in the market, not in game. Think about Clavin, Mac,
Yeah.
Unity, Overwolf, Twitch. You can have YouTube. You can have various ways of engaging with a gaming audience on several ways, and each media channel will provide you something different. Some will give you I like to talk a lot about the combination of lower and upper funnel. So some will give you the lower funnel, some will give you the awareness, but in the end, the agency wants to get as much dollars as possible from the brand and build a media plan that will allow them to buy everything. Depends on client needs. And having everything very accessible on a particular DSP, I think this is what they're trying to
Yeah.
figure out how to do this.
I think that, yeah, I mean, the discussion definitely I felt need to be broadened, more broad than what it is. Um, I understand, every name that was mentioned here, definitely Anzu, that's very exciting, that's very innovative, but it works and it works at scale. Everybody, to some extent, work at scale. It can be innovative every day. It's good for Sunday and Monday,
Right.
but then you need to wake up Tuesday and understand that this is just another media. You need to know how to mix it into a plan for sure, but it can be exciting forever. To quote one of the clients we met, it needs to be more boring
Exactly. Yeah.
at the level. And I think that is absolutely a sort of how can you make yourself that is almost a challenge, because you don't want to be that, but you do want to be accessible and not the fresh new every day.
Get the 7, 8 figures, and let it run.
Yes. Good. So GDC, what was sort of the lesson learned? What's the next thing that you're taking with you into the next event?
Being a newbie, honestly, mapping for myself who sits where,
Right.
hotels wise.
Yeah.
That's a tip for anyone who's coming GDC for the first time. Eh, because a lot of good things can happen just by walking through
Yeah.
these hotels, either bumping accidentally into someone or just set a meetings at whatever hotel's lobby with someone. I had few of those, but not as much.
These event, I mean, it is more of the game industry, and I know that if this was a mobile marketing summit, you would probably know half of the people.
Mm-hmm.
And but creating that pressure point, right, where you have developers, publishers, tech providers, monetization, marketing, investors, right, reporters, press, all in one point for that long. It's a week long event. Is good. It's good because the outcome out of pressing that, diamonds usually come out.
Yeah.
4 different companies, 4 different studios. Not everybody wins, right? Not everybody gets their diamond, but definitely you have more of that than usual. These events, games come later this year. Then the bit smaller event, but still critical, are so important for everybody that wants to just up their chance to put their hand on a few diamonds.
Yep.
Good. Other than that, San Francisco food. You're a vegan. What did you get
Challenge.
to eat? That was a
Honestly,
challenge.
New York.
Boy, oh boy.
A week after New York was amazing. So easy. San Francisco, I think it depends on the location where your hotel is.
Yeah. No, it's
Plus other challenges. Let's put it this way.
yeah, no, nobody's staying hungry in the big city. Whatever you eat or don't eat. Good. So with that, again, GDC was great. I think actually this year for Anzu, it had better ROI than other years, thanks to actually more quality than quantity. Great meetings with great outcome, right set of people that we had. So for us, even though people said well, less people showed up, I think it was the right people that showed up, definitely for us. I want to thank our partners and I want to thank our clients for taking time and meeting us.
Mm-hmm.
That was important and that goes a long way for us to just be able to provide better service all around. And with it, we've done a lot of promotion for the self-serve integration program.
Yeah, last week, no, the week before, we officially introduced our self-service program. Uh, Getting good traction. Got developers already signing in,
Yeah,
keeping the momentum, allowing everyone to tap into the party.
I've seen the growth. I've seen the chart after GDC, even through, but after GDC. So that's exciting.
Lots of work to do.
Let's keep that momentum going. And with that, really looking forward into as we get into Q2, for that momentum to grow massively at scale.
Yep.
All right. So, More, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's been exciting. Thank you again for our partners. Definitely register for our self-serve integration program where you get our monetization SDK, documentation, and support online. And thank you, Nir, for keeping the great work of being the technical editor support that we need. And without him, there was no podcast here.
And anyone who's supporting us with this fantastic initiative.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. See you next time.
Thank you.